Hello. Hello. Okay, I'm a little bit late today. Have a very busy day. So welcome to, I'm sorry, this is my foam roller. If we ever want to do anything with foam roller in this class, a soft foam roller, I don't really like the hard ones. That would be nice. Anyway, so let's just give a moment for everyone to get settled and signed on here. We're just gonna go with the flow today again. And I'm gonna do everything started seated on the floor. This is Community Yoga Narada, Breathing and Tension Release, and I'm Michele. So I've been teaching this kind of work for about 23 years, and I decided to make a class during the pandemic just for a very simple body release and connection with your breath. This is very, very basic. It has elements of Qigong and yoga and even Tai Chi. Just trying to find a nice release and connect inward with your body. This is not a full yoga class. This is not a specified yoga class that I would give a private group or a private instruction. This is just a very generalized approach to a portion of what I usually teach. So with that all said, let's go ahead and come down on the floor if you're comfortable. If you know how to do this sitting in a chair or stool, you can go right ahead. We're going to come back and just let the feet relax across. This is what I'm choosing. You can find a nice little diamond shape here, or you can let your feet come straight out. We're just going to find that release into the sits bones, nice and long. We're finding our plumb line. So we want to use breath to let gravity balance internally through the body so that we can find our alignment and placement within gravity, right? Because gravity is what always, whatever force is most strong is where the gravity will pull through. So if you're doing this with your chin and your shoulders pull forward, gravity will intensify that motion, right? So we're gonna, and it doesn't take very much to undo all of the bad posturing. So posture is not positive or negative. It is what's happening, right? So posture is your current state of alignment. So now, because a lot of people say, I want to work on my posture. So you can work on changing your posture, but that's what we're going to do here. So let's just start with finding a sense of a heaviness. I'm going to think about the sacrum, the tailbone is nice and long and heavy through the floor, from the top of the tailbone down through the floor. Finding that sense of heaviness through your sitting bones on the sides. So we have two little bones at the bottom of our pelvis connecting into our legs. We're going to shift from side to side. A lot of the time, we are rounded back behind the sits bones or really pitched far forward with a tight lower back with maybe some hyperextension. So we're just going to feel that long, heavy tail drape down. We're going to let everything adjust through the spine, through the chest, through the jaw and the chin, into that long, heavy tail line. And feel the sits bones nice and wide and long into the floor, releasing through the sides of the hips and the lower back. And that will allow the thoracic spine, the chest and the neck and the head to all float into length. We're going to close the eyes. Let the breath drop all the way down through the spine, into the base of your spine, into the base of your pelvis. We're just using this time to become a little bit more aware of the breath, trying to find that release of the breath, drawing down, starting to bring your focus internal and release any external thoughts or tensions. We're going to gently open the eyes, take the palms together, and use the breath from down low in the pelvis, drawing it up into your hands, and just taking a nice gliding forward and back in between the fingers, feeling that there's a sense of energy coming up into the hands, connected from your breathing. And then we're going to gently separate the palms, feeling that energetic buzzing between our hands. This is the breath, right? We're going to feel that expand, like a nice morning yawn, expanding out into the space around you. Feel that the breath through the back of your body is moving you and letting you breathe and expand, and just sort of using this as a way to assess what's going on today in your body. Breathing gives you a sense of support to expand through and maybe even release through. You can be a little bit more energetic and swirl the energy around through your palms. We're letting the body expand into every direction around you, up above, down below, around the sides, behind you. And then we're going to reach out, gathering that energy through the palms, taking it from around the space, and just holding that over your eyes, sensing it, breathing into it, and then just washing over the face around the eyes, letting the breath wash over. And then again, using the breath to release and wash over the face, relaxing through the eyes. Now we'll take our middle fingers above on the brow bone. We're going to trace and massage, carving from the inside to the outside with a nice little exhale, a little lift up into the hairline. And again, using the breath, exhale, feeling that release from the center of the face, above the eyes, out and up. And again, breathing out, exhale, around and sweeping up. And then with our index finger, we're going to bend and go underneath the eyes along the orbital bone. So we're sweeping along the bone line and again up into the hairline using your breath. Exhale, breathing through that release, opening and relaxing the face and up. And then we'll come in with our fingertips into the forehead and just start scrubbing up and down, releasing through the breath again. Moving the skin and moving the lymph under the skin, releasing any little crevices and lines here, and then continuing out to the outside of the eyes, the temples, very, very light circular massage. And then continue down, relaxing the jaw. You can poke with your fingertips a little bit more to massage in between the upper and lower jaw. And you can sort of explore and find any little tight spots holding on in here. And again, feel that the breath is traveling through the fingertips and penetrating into this tight tissue and releasing it, opening that space a little bit more. Now we'll take our fingertips above the ears into the scalp, and we're just going to breathe into a nice little scrubbing, lifting motion above the ears, and then we'll trace along the perimeters of the ears around the back, lifting up, going around to the back of the head, and lifting up. And again, to the back. And then we'll come all the way down into the bottom of the head and find that nice little crevice as you move your head a little bit up and down. That's where the spine and the head meet. That's the occipital there, underneath, up in there. And we're just going to massage through that crevice space, side to side. Feel that you're breathing into your hands, massaging, feeling a sense of expansion and openness through that space. Go a little bit wider out to the sides, towards your ears, feeling that space open up there. And then we'll go back in close to the spine. Now we're going to take a circular massage, a little bit deeper again. Nice circular massage from the top of the neck, going down the sides of the spine, and breathing into this, relaxing through these muscles, And then coming up into the tops of the shoulders, we're going to dig our fingertips again over the top of the traps and sweep. Take a nice exhale, sweeping and releasing through the top of the shoulders and shaking it off. And again, going back, using the breath and a nice exhale, sweeping and releasing and shaking it off. One more time, using the breath and exhale, releasing and shaking that off. Now we're going to interlace the fingers, turn the palms up, feel a nice yawning from the base of the spine all the way up from inside your body. You want to think of, we call this the midline, where the spine is. So the midline of the body is breathing and lengthening and giving you that nice stretch, lifting up out of the seat, wiggling and feeling that little bit of space above the hip bones release. All these little crevices, we're decompressing, lifting off the tail and the hips a little bit, and then coming back through center, relax the tail under to let your arms drape down in front, relaxing the shoulders. We're going to do a nice sweep around to the right. Bring your elbow up to the ceiling first to breathe through the ribs. Now, as I get through the top, notice how I'm not long through the arms. Relax your elbows wide so that you're massaging through the shoulder blades into the back of the ribs. We're really moving the chest cavity. We're going to exhale through the other side ribs. The arms drape. The arms are just a nice leverage to breathe the chest open. Sweep down and around. We breathe through the back ribs. Inhale, breathe through the your left side ribs. Finding the sternum, the front of the chest breathes wide. Exhale, the left side ribs expand. And the back of the ribs as we come down. Inhale through the left. And we come up, wide and open chest. Exhale through the right and around and down. Again, inhale through the left and all the way up. Take a little pause. Exhale, change. Over and forward and down. Inhale through the right side ribs, making that space through the elbow and up. And exhale over, around and down. Inhale through the ribs. You can think of the space, the intercostal muscles between the ribs expanding as you exhale through the other side, around and forward. Inhale through the side ribs and up. Now as we come through the top, feel that midline lifting breath up through the center, reaching and lifting you up. And that's going to stretch through your arms. Maybe if your shoulders have some tightness, go where you're supported from down in the pelvis, in the abdomen. And then separate the hands and circle through the wrists and the fingers, breathing them open and floating them around and down. And just find a nice hang into a V with an open spine. So we're just letting the spine breathe and hang the arms open. Now, we're going to bring the feet forward, out in front of your body. So you can kind of rock, you're finding your sits bones again. Let's take a moment and find the sits bones. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. Some people have a really hard time sitting up over the sits bones, even dancers, especially younger dancers sometimes. Sometimes the quads get a little bit tight and overly worked, right? And that creates a pattern of dense tightness. So we want to try to break that a little bit to open up through the low back and the hamstrings. Let's take the right foot forward. We're going to just bend the other knee off to the side. So your right hand goes up, your left hand goes right behind your tailbone on the floor. We're going to breathe through that midline, lift up through the midline to open the chest and hang this arm from your shoulder blade, your scapula, little opening. We're yawning through and releasing and changing. So we're doing one side of the body and then the other. Let the breath lift you up and over and release and change. And breath comes in and up to go over and release and change. Breath comes in and up to go over and release and change. Breath comes in and up to go over and release. Now from here, let's bring both arms up. We're going to circle through the wrists and the ankles. Breathe through these end points open, like nice little tentacles breathing open. We're making our on over the legs, relaxing on the floor, shifting in your hips, and feeling that your head, the weight of your head, creates this rounded hang over your legs. So however high you are, it doesn't matter. Soften through the knees and just drop the head and drop the arms and just feel that release. As you exhale through the nose, feel your head let go. If it moves, that's fine. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But try to breathe out through the nose to let this release trickle through the spine into the low back, releasing through the neck. And then we're just going to hang through center and sway the head from side to side, swaying over and swaying over. Using the breath through the abdomen, shifting from one side to the other. So your breath is moving your body. You're imagining that swirling and shifting, rocking on one side, and feel that heaviness through the sits bones, rocking. There's a rock and a drag, and a rock and a drag. Then we're going to use the low belly to lift the hip up and walk backwards. And we lift up and walk back. So we're dragging the leg along the floor, shifting in the hips, up and back, and up, around, and back, and up, around, and back. Now we're going to come forward, lifting the hip up and just dropping the leg down and out. So we lift up and let it go, and up, release, and push to go over, and push to go over, and push to go over, and then just relax and hang the head over, exhale. Find that nice long tail drawing down through the floor to roll you up through the spine. Your tail's long and heavy. As the breath comes in and up along the front of the spine, the tail goes down and out through the floor. A nice long heavy dinosaur tail, Brontosaurus. Now we use that tail to lift and balance our chest open. If you take away that feeling of the density in your tail, there's work that has to happen up here and kind of like pinching and holding maybe. I'm obviously exaggerating. But if you just find that long tail energy, you'll feel all of a sudden that you're engaged through the core, right? So we want to use that because it's the most efficient way to get us upright, and especially if there's some tightness and other things going on in the spine and in the neck and in the shoulders. Now from here, bring your feet forward. We're going to intentionally do a little scoop through the belly to open through the back. We want to feel that we're breathing into the back. Use your fists and just drum into your sacrum, finding that nice release, going all around the sacroiliac joint here, into the perimeter, into the glutes, around the backside hips. And then we're going to travel up the sides of the spine towards your kidneys and back down again. And then we're going to use the fist and just sort of release off the backside of the hips here, finding a nice little dropping and bouncing and letting go. And then we'll alternate this. So we're going to come from the back and the other side. So now this is more from the back of the hip, giving us a sense of letting go and flushing and releasing any tension and tightness, sending it down the leg, out through the toes. And then from here, we're going to open the palms, loose hands. Use the heels of the hands. We're fluffing around the sides of the hips, going down the sides of the legs where the IT bands are, getting a nice loose shake off the bone here, fluffing these muscles and letting go of any holding on around the bone structure, just kind of moving and breathing and releasing into that. A lot of our tightness and cramping or spasming literally comes from just this not lack of release every day, right? So if you let things shift around and move a little bit more and not get fixed, then maybe things would be easier. It doesn't take very much attention to your body to really change. Now, we're gonna just take your fists and tap around the top of the knees. So we're still in the quadriceps, above the knees where the attachments come in, go around to the inside. Now we're gonna go right on top of the joint, the kneecap, a whole knee joint, and just fluff around, breathing into that, getting a little padding going. And now we'll take our fingertips and tap right into the kneecap, the bone, the patella. We want to feel a nice vibration traveling through that bone into the joint. It does stimulate some fluid in the joint. We're going to tap down the shin bone. We're using our nervous system to respond to all this, all the way down to your ankles. Tapping back up the shins again. Hopefully your shins aren't too sensitive. We're gonna lean back and use the heels of the hands flush down from the top of the hips down into the knees. So we get a nice release along the femur bones, and just go with the shape of your leg, a little bit out, a little bit in, whatever feels good there. Getting a really good long massage, ironing out any little kinks that you feel there. The muscles cross over and sort of wind around your thigh bone, so you're going to feel lumpies. Now, we'll loosen up the hands, use the heels of the hands. We go into our fluffing motion. This is below the knees. We're on the outside of the shin bone, the peroneals, and this is where, if you've ever had shin splints, you know this area. If you're tender here, go any of this. Anything that you find that's really tender, you're going to go lighter, not as much force. So you want to use your own discretion in terms of what your body needs. You're touching your body. Instead of leaving the responsibility up to someone else, you're getting to know your body sensations. And it's surprising sometimes. And with regular practice of this, you really get to know yourself so much better. And you can also tell someone else about yourself, right? If you ever get any other therapeutic treatments, which all of us do, we all need that. And then we're going to just gently glide the feet back in. I'm going to let the knees, you're just letting your knees hang open to the sides. This is not a big stretch. We're going to use the top of the hands. We go along the inner thigh lines from the hips. We're taking this downward flush motion, breathing into that, releasing any tension through these inner thigh adductor lines. This is all the muscles that sort of hold us into parallel alignment. And usually this is very weak or lazy or sleepy over time. We're going to flush down the inner thighs towards the knees, letting go and also waking up that area. And then we're going to gently flex through the heels, feel a slight engagement through the calves, taking the fist, exhale, drop into the calf. And just feel that nice little release and shake through the calf muscles, kind of shaking around side to side off the bones, breathing into that. And then you can go a little bit lower and smaller and just kind of repeat a little bit more with your breath into the lower calves, towards your Achilles, the soleus right below the calves here. And then we're going to take our hands back behind, relax the leg down, and just do a nice little shake out on the floor. We're going to shift from side to side, releasing the tail. Now from here, let's take the right knee up. We're going to bring the foot in, right knee up. We're going to exhale, feel a little gathering as you exhale through the low belly, and let the leg release long. The other leg comes up, inhale, exhale, and change up. And exhale, and again up, release, and again, and again. Now from here, just relax your legs, let them hang. We're going to find a nice little tap. Start small and light. You're going to tap the inside of your toes and release. So we're just getting a nice little tap and let go. Again, moving through the bones, letting that movement, churning in the hip sockets a little bit come through. So you should feel, your knees should feel fine here. You're not forcing this, but this is a nice little warm up of movement inside the hip joint in the socket. And that helps support the knees, right? And also we're waking up through the end points. So we have those distal points reacting to wake up with the tap of the toes. And that gives us, a neurological connection. So if your toes are talking to your hips, that's a good thing. If your toes are not talking to your hips, there's too much room for things to happen that you don't want. Now, we're going to relax and bring the feet in, and we're just going to roll around through the ankles, making little ankle circles here, releasing and breathing into the ankles. And then we're going to relax both feet on the floor and just massage into that inside heel underneath the ankle bone, getting a nice little flush release there. And you can kind of dig and massage up underneath. Think of that shape in your heel, that carving shape that always moves, right? So we want to massage into that and open that, and also thinking of this as waking that area up. Go down into the inside line of the foot where the arches are. This is the adduction line in the foot. And this gets sleepy too, and our ankles roll in and we're not supported in our balance, right? So that can be another point of contention for good posture. We're going to come down underneath the feet with our thumbs, give a nice mushy circular massage here. Start down by your heels and just mush around through your arches. Try to relax your feet and work your way up underneath into the balls of the feet, right? So each toe has each metatarsal. The metatarsals are the bones into the feet that are long. Now underneath your feet, under each toe, is a joint. It's a ball. And that's why it's plural. Balls of the feet. We go through each one and massage through there. And then we're going to just sort of take your hands underneath that area, spread your toes wide, try to relax your feet and just breathe into this space between your toes, letting your foot open up a little bit. So we don't feel compressed in our toes, because that really leads into the foot, leads into how we function through our legs and back and hips. And then relaxing, taking the hands back behind you, we're going to bring the knees up together. We have a little scoop under through the tail, gather into your midline. From the outside of the hips, you're gathering into that center midline. We're going to walk through the feet and breathe. We're going to exhale, walk, send the breath from your pelvis down to your toes. Stretch your toes really wide and your toes pull your heels forward. There's a doming. We're going to exhale, breathe into the floor as you walk. So we're getting a nice, you're going to check out your feet here and just look at those bone lines we talked about and just sort of talk to them, making sure that they're breathing and expanding and lengthening in the directions you want them to go, so nothing pulls in opposition. And then let's reverse it. When you get too far away, your toes begin going over. You get that nice dome. You're going to drag back and melt your foot into the floor, feet into the floor. We're going to go over, find the floor, feel that your breath expands and drags back through the floor, up and over, and feel that your foot expands and drags back, up and over, and expands and drags back. We're going to go forward one more time. Exhale and walk and forward. Breathe into the floor. Feel your arches melt and expand and walk. And again, exhale and through. And then this time just relax and shake the legs out again. We're going to bring the feet back in. I'm going to go with the cross foot. You can do whatever's comfortable for you, finding that length through the hips, long tail, long sitting bones. And we're just going to take our hands massaging around the chest cavity. Inhale, feel the breath expand through the ribs. And exhale, release, sweeping around. Another good breath here, letting the breath in. And exhale, release. Now we're going to take a nice little massage into the front of the hips here. We have some lymph here. We're just going to breathe and massage into that. Now we'll come up right into the center of the chest. We're just going to do a little scrubbing up and down, releasing your breath and letting any tension go that's holding on into the center of the chest here. And then we'll take a nice sweeping motion. We're going to sweep down through the midline, light with the fingertips. Feel that your breath is sweeping from the bottom of the ribs into your pelvis. And now we'll use that sweep underneath the sides of the ribs. Again, we're opening that space underneath your bottom rib. That's where your psoas attaches into, right? When we do a side bend, we open the top of the psoas. When we do a leg stretch long, we open the bottom front hip psoas part. So we're going to shift and breathe into that space, opening up the space underneath that bottom rib where we hold a lot. We get a lot of tightness there. Hopefully this is going to make your regular everyday breathing a little bit softer. And then just relax the arms, relax the shoulders, hang over the legs. Let your head relax. Take your opposite hand into the front of the shoulder and just breathe and massage. Again, we have a lot of good lymph here. We can mush around and breathe into. And you want to explore and move where you feel that you need to go to let go of any holding tension in the front of the chest into the shoulder. You can let your head gently move to release a little bit more from the neck down into the shoulder. And then we're just going to relax and hang over to the other side, changing and just breathing into that, letting go, starting to swirl around and feel that release. And again, you can go maybe closer to your clavicle, your collarbone here, and into the front of the chest a little bit more. This here is where a lot of our neck tension really comes from, right? So if we just kind of poke around and massage in there, it feels really nice. It feels almost like that band starts to have some awareness and open up. So we're going to come back up through center, relaxing. We're going to use the breath through the palm and just drop over the shoulder and let go, breathing out, changing. So feel that the breath is traveling through your hand. You're getting a nice release over the top of the shoulder, feeling that there's a sense of breath all the way up into your top ribs and lungs up there. So yes, our lungs go all the way up there, right? And so that part feels really sort of, it's like, wow, there's something there that needs to function. Yes. So we're going to try to loosen up around that to let our body function easier and not have to work so hard, just at a survival living level and using breath. So the breath is the one thing we have to let go in the body to help sort of, I don't like the word manipulate, but to help release and become aware into what you feel, where you feel it, and how you want to address it, right? So that's really what yoga is all about. We're going to relax down through the center. Find that softness in the tail. We're going to, again, use the breath. We're going to gather through the midline. Inhale through each little vertebrae, lifting your body up. Lifting, lifting, lifting. We're going to exhale, let the arms go, release. So we feel that nice let go down and out, feeling that the spine suspends up from the upward breath. Let's do that again. Soften the tail. Feel the breath come in. Find that long tail releasing down to find your breath in and up. And we let it go. And again, soften the tail, finding the breath, gathering in and up. Finding that suspension and space, release the arms. Now we're just gonna shake it all out, releasing through the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. Again, feel the breath inside your body, release into this shake. And you can let your head hang over. Feel that the breath comes from your upper back, ribs there. Again, we're getting a really good shake off the bone here. And then we're going to interlace the fingers, try to draw the shoulder blades down and just sort of compress and release, opening up that space between the fingers, the webbing between our fingers here, breathing that open, just like we did with our feet. We're going to relax through the wrists, draw the shoulder blades down, and roll through the wrists. Use your breath to guide this. We're going to exhale and roll around. And then we're going to reverse it. We're going to exhale, rolling back the other way. Let yourself find a rhythm through your breath. Your breath is guiding this. Then we're going to just take the hands and gently peel them apart. And then feel the palms, the center of the palm, breathe the fingers open, inhale. Exhale, the center of the palms pulls the fingers in. So we're going to inhale, open, and in. And just do this a few times. If you can't do the most extreme version, you're going to start small. So anything that feels tight, especially joint tightness, you need repetition to open that up. So it's not going to happen on the first or second or maybe even third attempt. You want to use your breath and you're just easing it open, right? In the world that I'm in, we talk about the rusty door hinge, and you don't want to break the door off the hinge. You want to just ease it, and then eventually the rest will fall away. And we're going, that's how I think of my joints all the time. So now we're going to use the breath. Inhale from the base of the spine, let the breath come in and expand the body up. We're floating up and open. We're going to take a long squeezing exhale and initiate from the low belly, and we're going to feed from the fingertips, the toes, the eyes. We're squeezing that breath out. Keep exhaling, exhaling, exhaling. We're compressing, compressing, compressing. You're going to feel the deepest version of exhale with a little even cough at the end, getting rid of all the breath you have. As you let the breath in, feel that expansion, float your body open. Again, we're going to do the longest squeezing exhale, let all the breath out of the body and a little bit beyond what you think you have left. Breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. We're compressing through the nerve lines and releasing and cleansing anything that needs to let go. Let the breath in. Feel that light expansion just float right through the body. We're going to do one more long exhale, squeezing out anything you don't need, negative, physical, emotional. You're going to use this breath and squeeze it out. As the breath comes in, you float open and up. And now in this last one, we're going to use the breath and we're exhaling, but we're opening. We're gathering that light new energy through the fingertips and toes, through the nerve lines. We're drawing that into our center, enveloping it. And then letting the breath in, letting the arms float up. We're just going to flick off anything that's left. Just let it go. Now, let's interlace the fingers. We're going to come behind the head. At the very, very bottom of the head, rest into your hands. So you want to feel like you have a little bit of a cradle here. Relaxing your jaw and your chin. Take a moment and find that plumb line again. from your long dinosaur tail down through the floor. Feel that you're against a wall, breathing into the back, breathing into your palms. That length through the tail down directly affects your jaw and your chin, breathing in and up into the hands. We want to feel that breath and use your hands to just give yourself a little bit more lift and length up to the ceiling. And relax your jaw and chin to let that happen. And then just continue sweeping the palms up, feeling that lift from the tail sweeping up through the crown, and eventually letting that come out through the crown of the head, floating the arms around and down. We're going to come around onto our hands and knees, and we're just going to do a nice flush through the legs. We're going to come back and find your alignment here with your hips balancing over your knees and your shoulder blades, the bottom of your shoulder blades balancing over the heels of your hands here. We're going to take a deep breath, lift the abdomen up to the ceiling. Inhale. Rounding, you're going to look at your belly. Exhale, push into the floor to expand through the back. As the breath comes in, release the tail of your spine long. That tail, making a hinge back through the hips, opens your chest easily through the shoulders so your eyes and your head can come up. You don't want to feel like you're trying to lift your head up and you have a turtle back, right? So you have to let go and then let the arch. This is a natural extension of the spine using gravity. Now we're going to use our belly to lift up to the ceiling. So you feel, you're going to see my belly move first. The belly comes up. And then that moves my body, right? So you let the breath move your body and then just intensify the exhale, looking at your navel, looking at your low belly. Find that release of the breath. As the breath comes in, the tail releases long. That gives you a nice ease through the chest and the eyes coming forward and up. We're going to lift the heels, tuck the toes under, keep your heels touching a little bit. Let your elbows bend. You want to think like a tiger, like you're going to get ready to pounce forward, right? We're going to bend the elbows, draw the shoulder blades down, and pull your tail back. And you're going to try and look up as if you're seeing your tail lift up around the back. Exhale. We're going to come forward. Inhale, lift. The belly lifts us up. And exhale, push back. Curl. Inhale, lift through the abdomen, find the tail, come all the way up, and exhale, find your tail. Inhale, lift, long feet, exhale, curl. Inhale, let the breath come through, release your tail, lift your heels, tuck your toes, and draw the shoulder blades down, bend your elbows. We're going to let the feet relax. Bring your hands very close to your knees. Lift your heels, tuck your toes under. We're going to push back to hang over the heels. Let your knees separate a little bit and hang your arms over the knees. And just relax your head down, drop your tail, drop your head. Do a little bounce with your tail, releasing your heels towards the floor. If your heels can be on the floor comfortably, go ahead and do that. We want to find this letting go. You can use your hands to just rock a little bit and shift your body weight on your feet to let your feet release and open. Take your hands really close to the toes. Take a deep breath. Exhale, we're going to push into the floor and stretch the legs. We're hanging the body over the legs here. We're going to just shake the legs out, hanging over. Find that plumb line from your tail to your heels through the back of the legs. Hang and hold onto your elbows, breathing into this hang. Feel that the breath releases through the upper back and the neck. Feeling that let go, and then pull your elbows down to the floor to just intensify this a little bit further. We're going to lift through the upper abdomen. The belly, again, lifts up to the ceiling. We're going to let the arms go and let them feel heavy and draped. The breath comes in and up through the upper abdomen,
to start to lift the chest and the upper back so that the tail can revolve down through the floor, through the heels. We let the breath, that tail goes down and out along the floor as the breath comes in and up along each little vertebrae. Imagine you have a little pencil under your chin, so it's very round, and you're coming through the neck roll up, feeling that openness. Stay here and just find that sense of openness on your feet upright. And finding that sense of release into the front of the hips, nice and long, as you find the length and engagement through the tail, down through the floor, through the heels. And just that alone, through this lower body, gives you a sense of openness in the chest and the shoulders. We're going to interlace the fingers, bend the knees, and just breathe from your tail, your sacrum. Think of the top of the sacrum drawing down through the floor as you breathe through that midline up, just like we did on the floor. We're going to breathe through it, and we're going to shift over, your hip shifts over down into your left heel. And then we come up through center. Your hip shifts over down into your right heel. And up through center. And we shift down through the left heel. And center, and we shift down through the right heel and center. Find that long sacrum down through the heels to reach up. We're going to separate the hands and breathe through this midline, long and open. Feel the chest, breathe the arms open. So your arms are connected from your spine, releasing open. Relaxing down. And just let the shoulders release and roll back here. Feel that long, heavy dinosaur tail energy here, right? So you have your brontosaurus tail long and down behind you. And you're just going to feel that tail and take a nice little walk, feeling that sense of length and openness in the hips there. And you can just sort of walk around, releasing your body, shaking things out, whatever feels good. Yeah. So yes, we're just continuing to keep the flow going here in January. So thank you very much, everyone, whether you're live or watching this recording. I think we'll, same time, same place next week. I'm going to think about a better way to streamline this maybe, so I don't have to use two devices. We'll see. So be well, have a lovely week, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.